Welcome, friends, and it's the Grumpy Old Man, broadcasting live from WDWL TV, Studio B, located on Grumpy Vulture Boulevard. All right, I hear you. A division of Grumpy Vulture Productions. Ugh. Are you done now? Yeah, you're done. Come on, you're done. Get in your cage. Get in the cage. I swear. It's going to be one of these days, the Grumpy Vulture Show. And all you're going to hear is him go, because vultures don't really make a lot of noise. Let's see if we can swing this. Told you I was going to swap them out. That's the nice thing about, I can just, because I've got other signs. You know, I don't know what it is with this. This microphone drives me crazy. And tonight, which it's hard to tell, is Yellow Night. Yellow Night. The yellow filters really don't do much. I'll show you. Yeah! Jesus. Crank that one down another notch. And the second one. They looked like they were going to be yellow. But with the lights on, they're not. Oh, well. Still trying to find a stand for the big boy light. Everything that I've got, just either the opening on the stand is too small or it's too large. See, because it's got to slide in and lock down. Now, I could have mounted it on a stand, a microphone stand that I've got, and it would have locked down. The problem is, this thing is heavy. And no matter how I tried to adjust it, the stand kept going, So we're still working on giving this thing a shot. Although I know that sucker's going to be like ultra bright. You really don't need two of them. Okay. As you saw in the tonitle, that's a combination of tonight's title, a tonitle. As you saw, thin-skinned YouTube creator. It's hard to believe, after watching all of these YouTube creators, that one is like, a little kid where the kid hoards all his toys in the sandbox and, tells his, and his little, his buddy, he won't play with me. I was a regular watching this one YouTube creator almost every single night. And it got to be the point where he was asking me what I did, and I said, nah, I do whatever comes to mind. I don't follow these auditors, these auditor, whatever they call them. And I don't follow the flat earth people. I run a stream. So he said, would you like to come on the panel sometime? Considering I've never been on a panel, I jumped at it and I said, yes. So he goes, we'll try to work things out. And I says, I don't do morning panels. And I explained to him, I've got nasty insomnia from chemo, and that there's a lot of times I don't fall asleep until like 4 a.m. So I can't do, any 8, 9 o'clock in the morning streams. And he does something and coffee stream. I don't know what he calls it. Content and coffee or something like that. But he also does one in the evening. So he says, I'll try to work things out. Get you in on a stream sometime. Okay, Pinky. So I started paying real close attention as to how he operated, because everybody does their streams different. And it got to be the point. He was driving me insane the way he runs his stream. So I decided to give him a little critique. Not that I'm a professional critique artist, but, I did get 9 months of, broadcast school in before they screwed us all and closed the school and took off with our money. And I remember, basically, it's politeness. When you have guests, first of all, I told him, I said, you've got to do a format. Do your introduction. Welcome your chat. After you've done your introduction of your guests, whoever's on the panel, and then you welcome everybody that's joined your chat, and you start your stream. Now, maybe you're going to start it with a video. Maybe you're going to start it with some conversation. Well, he would do as he put it, his roll call. And then he would get around to introducing his guests or guests. So he'd run a video, and they would decide to discuss the video. Well, he'd start the video, and then it would be, stop the video. Hey, Susie Q, good to see ya. Hey, Rob, hey, blowjob, hey, bingo. Okay, start the video again. And then the video would end, or he would stop it and he would ask his guest, what did you think about what this predator was doing? And his guest would start, well, if I was there, hey, Susie, hey, Bill, hey, welcome, Sam. Okay, get back to what you were saying. Well, as I started out to say, if I was there at that particular, hey, Jim Bob, how are ya? Good to see ya. And then his guest would start to finally answer the question, and he would cut him off and insert his comments and never let the guest finish. And it was constantly throughout the whole stream. Every time a new person popped into the chat, they got welcomed. And I felt sorry for his guests because they never got to finish a sentence. So in the critique, I mentioned this. I said, you've got moderators. Once you take roll call, have your moderators make a list of the new people that have joined the chat, who have joined your stream, and then take like an intermission and welcome all these people. And then go back to your program. I also commented in the critique that his intro was blaringly loud. All of these, or 90% of these creators, when they do a live, they'll have a countdown, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. And then they either play music or... Well, his intro started out with a dive buzzer from a submarine. Enough to blow your freaking eardrums out. This don't sound right. So I says to him, is there any way you can lower the volume on your intro? Because I says it's especially irritating for anyone wearing headphones. Emails me back. I figured out when I transferred it from my other, editing program over how to lower the volume. It'll be taken care of, by the next stream. Well, to this day, it's still exceedingly, irritatingly loud. So, I know he read the critique because he had mentioned the next night that he was going to work on lowering the volume. So I know he read my email and my critique. And I was not nasty. I can be a real son of a bitch. But I was throwing out suggestions to help him improve. Because, believe me, he's got subscribers. I'm sitting at 32. He's sitting at like 47,000. So, but I made the suggestion so that basically when my night to come on his panel finally arrived, that I wouldn't lose my cool and say, Jesus Christ, people are trying to talk and you welcoming your subscribers? You're not using your mods? I sent the email Thursday afternoon because Friday night's stream, he had mentioned that he was going to take care of that intro volume. So I know he read it. Okay? So I had other things going on and I missed Monday, Tuesday, night stream. Okay? Well, I found it odd that last night I didn't get a notification for the start of his stream because he always puts up, my stream is going to start tonight at 8:10, and I clicked on notify me so I would get the notifications. Well, I didn't get one, which is not odd, but I didn't get one. So I looked at the clock and I said, oh, I've missed 5 minutes of his stream. I go into my YouTube subscription list and I can't find his stream. I was like, oh, this is... So I type in, blah, 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 blah. And up comes the live. I click. Well, not only, here was my reply to my critique, because evidently he must have really read it and took it in. Okay? My subscription was canceled, and my free membership was canceled. Because, you have to, well, on occasion, subscriptions will accidentally get kicked out by YouTube. That could have happened. Except my other channel, which I rarely use right now because I'm trying to work out what the format's going to be. That subscription was also canceled. Now, this is no YouTube accident. So both of my channels were unsubscribed, and the free membership that was gifted to me by his other half was canceled. I got the hint. He don't want the grumpy old man on his panel. He not only don't want the grumpy old man on his panel, he don't even want me on his stream. So I got the hint. See, the grumpy old man, I got thick skin. It don't hurt me. Now, his stream would have been my first ever. My tongue got in the way of my eye teeth. I couldn't see what I'm saying. His stream would have been my first ever being on a panel. But I got an invite to be on a panel from someone that's 200% better than this guy will ever be. The invite that I've got, and it's going to be in a little while, this guy's streaming, it's class. As a matter of fact, if you look up his channel name in the dictionary, it says pure class. So, buddy boy, you ain't hurting my feelings. It's just one less YouTube streamer, content creator that irritates the shit out of me that I don't have to watch anymore. And I'm not going to resubscribe. Why aggravate the shit out of myself? I tried to give you some hints to better your... But I guess you figure your way of running your stream and your 47,000 subscribers evidently must like the way you constantly scream. It's not like, hey, Jim Bob is here. It's like, hey, Hey, Jim Bob! Jesus frickin' Christ, blow my goddamn eardrums out. Although, on a sad note today, I discovered, let me digress just a fraction here. This creator does a morning show every morning. And even before I got my invite, I followed him because, it's one of those shows where it gets you going, gets your blood flowing in the morning. It's fun. Well, I go in this morning, and there's no show. And I'm like, something ain't right. And then I look, and there was no show yesterday. And I'm thinking, wow, where'd he go? And then I'm thinking, all right, maybe he had some sort of family emergency. But he's got a producer. And I'm sure his producer would have said something like, he's going to be away for a couple days. Nothing. So I missed the stream yesterday of another guy I follow in Michigan. He's a trip. I like him for several reasons. First of all, the way he runs the stream. And second of all, I was big into aquariums back in the 70s and 80s. And he's got an aquarium back in the corner. And he talks about his one algae eater fish, Wally or something. So he invites the creator on that I follow every morning. And he commences to tell everyone that somewhere along the line he was a bad boy. And YouTube is punishing him for a week. They give you that, you've been bad. Go stand in the corner. You got a 7-day timeout. Now, he has no idea why they spanked his butt. And eventually he'll find out. That's one thing. A lot of time we don't get all that information. The YouTube gods turn off your switch, but they don't tell you exactly why. So I have to follow somebody else for the next, 4 or 5 days. And then once he's back up and running, the world will know why he got spanked. Although you do have to speak in code. Because the YouTube gods don't like sometimes things that you say. So you have to speak in code. Like speaking in tongues. YouTube. Timu.com. Tomorrow I should have my other package from Timu.com. Although there isn't too much interesting in that. I kind of backed off on ordering, even though they have a big sign sale, which is obvious. Yeah. Not to mention with the signs that I showed you yesterday. I'll tell you what. When you're buying these signs, for a couple of bucks, you can't go crazy. At least I can. I mean, I have seen so many of these signs that I like. I could do this room floor to ceiling in signs because they're cool, and for a couple of bucks. You know, if you went, to the Mart or to that store that has that round, red dot, these should be 10, 15, 20 bucks. I have one that I paid $4.50. But that was the most expensive. As a matter of fact, it's this one. This one. $4.50. That's the most expensive one. The rest of them were under $3. And every now and then they do this. They run a special sale. Not only with signs, but all their merchandise. Where did I put it? Where did I put it? I have a bad habit. I move stuff around during the day and then I forget where I put shit. That's not it. Oh, here we go. I have a bad habit of old-timers disease. So I write notes. The bad habit is I'll put the notes somewhere. So they had this cute little book. Got this nice little and it's got, the nice little page marker. Lined pages. I can write notes. And not lose them, because they'll be in this little book. Now, if you were to go to an office supply store, or the Mart, or you would pay probably $2.50 for this, maybe $3 for this. $0.48. 48 cents. And we're not talking a cheap piece of crap here, friends. This thing is bound. It has a nice hard cover. Like I say, it's got the little memory strip or and it's got this nice Ziffelglotzer strip here. you know. So it keeps the book shut. 48 cents. I only ordered one because I wanted to see what it was like. Tomorrow, I'm going to order one in each color. I think they got 5 colors, 6 colors. Because I'll tell you what, for 48 cents, you can't even get one of those little, spiral flip tab, like, the police officers carry to make their notes. You can't even get one of them for 48 cents. That's what I say. I could go crazy on that website. I showed you. Oh, I moved them. Those reusable cable ties, the Velcro, 50 of them for, $1. So, yeah, I could go crazy. I am crazy. Just saying, that little book is a real convenience item for me. Now, I used to get Post-it notes, which are a pain in the ass because you got Post-its everywhere. This way I can write it down in my little book, and when I've accomplished the tasks or done whatever, just make a line through the page and flip it over and put the little marker in there. Temu.com. Temu.com. They're not sponsoring me. They're not paying me. Check them out sometime. Temu.com. You name it, they've got it. And, some of the stuff isn't, Rolls-Royce quality. But what do you expect for some of the prices? But 99% of the items that I have bought are decent, like these signs. They're not these, these are aluminum. They're not that crappy tin, which is crappy. You get those tin signs and they bend real easy, and these are nice because come on. They're folded over on the corners to give them strength. And they're aluminum. They're not crappy tin. This one I like, Property is protected by an attack cat. And the attack cat is protected by my gun. Cute. That goes along with that one. This property is protected by a highly trained fat cat. And one of these days I'll show you a picture. I've got a fat cat. When he sits and washes his paws, he looks like Jabba the Hutt. When he walks, his stomach goes back and forth, But he is almost the best cat I've ever had. I had one that was better. He lived for 22 years. I miss him. He was cool. This one is right behind him in coolness. Although sometimes he aggravates the shit out of me. Especially if I'll doze off. And he decides he's going to come up and get in bed. And he lays right next to me. And he'll lay on his side with all 4 feet in my direction, and he will start with a massage. All 4 feet. And then, once he has succeeded in waking my ass up, he decides he's going to go to sleep. What I should do when he goes to sleep is wake his ass up and then... But yeah, he'll get up in bed, lay down, and... Now, I've had cats do it with their front paws. He gives me all 4. And some of the other stuff he does is... I mean, he's amazing. It seems like every cat that I have had outdoes the previous one. It's just, amazing. People say, oh, cats, all they do is lay around, eat, and sleep. Nope. I mean, they're not like a dog. You can't, whistle and they come, or you call their name and they come running. I've got friends. I've known them. Matter of fact, we all went to junior high and high school together, and since graduation in 1970, we have remained friends, and we're in contact every Sunday. We're on the phone with each other, talking about the week or whatever. Well, when they first got married, they had a dog. And I think the dog was like 12, 13 years old, and it got sick, and they had to have it put to sleep. So, they were, really sad that, they didn't have a pet. They missed the pet. So I says, have you ever thought of a cat? And my buddy's wife was like, oh, cat. Oh, all they do is lay around. No. Well, a couple of weeks had gone by after our conversation. And they went out in their garage one day, and here's this kitten. So my buddy brings it in, and he says to his wife, look what I found in the garage, And she was like, oh, a cat. He said, well, why don't we put it in the spare room and take care of it while we try to find the owner? She's okay, and she got a cardboard box and put a couple of towels in it, and so they commenced to try to find the owner. In the meantime, she starts to get attached to this kitten. And no owner ever came forward. And they live in a small suburb, and, at that time, they had things like newspapers with classified ads. They advertised, they put up signs, and Well, he says, I guess we'll have to take it to the shelter. And she was like, oh, I kind of like it. Friends, that was 35 years ago. They have had cats ever since. She says to me, I don't know why we ever had a dog. First of all, if they decide to go away somewhere overnight, you don't have to call somebody to walk your dog. You know, you put out a big bowl of water and a couple of bowls of food, and the cat's fine overnight or for a weekend. And like she said, I don't have to walk the cat twice a day. And the one they've got now just entertains them constantly. And she says to me last Sunday, she goes, you know, suggesting a cat was one of the best suggestions you ever made. And she says, if I didn't know better, I would think you planted that kitten in our garage. And I said, I'm not going to drive 25 miles to possibly get arrested for breaking into your garage. So, for you people out there that think cats are worthless, try one sometime. I've had cats all my life. Growing up, we had both. We had the cats and dogs together. And when I moved out of, my home that I grew up in and got my own place, one of the first things I did was get a kitten. And it's interesting because since that kitten, every cat I have had since then has been a stray. And they say, you don't pick a cat picks you. And every cat I have ever had has picked me and said, keep me. And they have all been utterly unique. They really have. And with that, I'm surprised he isn't bugging me right now, because it's almost food o'clock. Oh yeah, he comes in, puts his feet up on my leg. Feed me. Yeah, like he's starving to death. His stomach looks like my head, But yeah, it's amazing. He's got a timer. It's food o'clock. He'll come in. Feed me. Feed me. He'll be in shortly. I think I'm going to say goodnight before he comes in, because sometimes he sticks his nails in my leg and like, Aah! That's how I know it's really food o'clock. Oh, I knew there was something I wanted to show you. My new mouse. It's got headlights. and it turns colors. Cordless. It's a gaming mouse. Now, I didn't order it because I'm not a gamer. It's just my other mouse was starting to give me a problem. I saw this one and I was like, wow, it's got headlights. And it changes color. Kind of neat. My new toy. And with that new toy, I'm going to click to end the stream. Friends, have a good evening. Stay safe. And the grumpy old man will talk to you